My apologies. You watch the smoke fill the room, not heavily, but just enough to have a fragrant scent. This represents your feeling of Mahayana bodhicitta in the form of a wish. You see the smoke filling the room, going into every nook and cranny, and you feel that Mahayana bodhicitta in your heart in the form of action. And your teacher encourages you to take the bodhisattva vows. Quite simply, I will attain enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. You turn around to your left and again face the door. There's a niche in the wall to the left of the door. There's 4 small packages of different sizes. You pick up the smallest one and it's money, which represents the perfection of giving material things. But money is easily spent and gone. You open the next package and it's a deed to a house. This represents physical protection, the perfection of giving protection from fear of not having a safe place to sleep, safe food to eat, and safe water to drink. You open the third box, which is slightly larger, and it's a Valentine and a bottle of medicine. You realize these represent perfection of giving love, making someone happy, the Valentine, and perfection of giving compassion, the medicine, taking away someone's suffering. You reflect that these first 3 gifts are wonderful in many, many ways, but only temporary. There's 1 box left, you open it, and it's a copy of the Buddha's teachings, the Dhammapada Sutra, the Heart Sutra, the Refuge Commitments. You realize that this is the true protection, and giving the Dharma is the highest gift of all. You close the boxes and put them back in the niche. You step back from the wall. You turn to your left and cross the second wall. And as you start to walk to the second wall, you notice that the light gets a bit brighter. This represents your commitment to the perfection of giving, which is the first perfection out of the 6. You cross to the second wall, which has a niche with a beautiful bonsai tree. But this bonsai is a weeping willow. The tree represents your vows. Without the root, the trunk, and the leaves won't grow. The leaves are your tantric vows. The trunk is your bodhisattva vows. And the roots are your 10 perfections. Your 10 virtues. You turn to your left. As you walk away from the wall, lights get brighter. This represents your commitment to the perfection of morality. It's the second perfection of a bodhisattva. Morality being to keep your vows, to be moral, which is essentially kindness. You walk to the third wall, which is a niche that's 6 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and you walk through the opening and magically you are situated near a small pond. There's a log big enough to sit just out of the water. You sit down on the log. You remember Master Shantideva's statement about not getting angry, not responding ignorantly, just like a bump on a log. When you think this, the pond instantly becomes mirror smooth. You realize that you can calm your mind and get it ready for meditation because you're not responding ignorantly. You get up, walk past the pond, out of the niche, and as you start walking towards wall number 4, the lights get slightly brighter, representing your commitment to the perfection of not getting angry. You could call this the perfection of patience. In the niche in the 4th wall, you find a video of a playground with children playing. They are laughing, that unique and joyous laugh of the young, innocent, carefree child. You realize the task of reaching enlightenment in this very life is something you can approach and need to approach with joy. Joyous efforts, having fun, doing your giving, your moral discipline, and not getting angry. You step back from the wall, and as you turn to your left, you walk to wall number 5. The light increases in brightness, and you've committed to the perfection of joyous effort. On the 5th wall, there's a niche at chest height. Inside is a stand with a microscope, and on the microscope is a tag that says, "Use me at least 1 hour a day." You turn the tag over, It says work gradually towards the 1 hour. If you add a minute a week, you'll be there in a year. You pick up the microscope and walk to the final wall, which has a niche and a brilliant red door. Once again, the room light increases slightly, representing your commitment to the perfection of concentration. In the niche to the left of the door is a velvet pedestal holding a 1-carat diamond brilliantly cut. You put down the microscope, carefully put the diamond on the microscope stage and focus it on the diamond. This represents the direct perception of emptiness. You leave the microscope in place and go back to the brilliant red door. You turn back and look into the hexagonal room. You see how the smoke of the incense fills the room, which represents the body chitta, the wish to attain enlightenment for all beings as it permeates your life. And there we dissolve the visualization and end this practice with another deep breath in. And breathe out. Okay, wonderful. Welcome, Antoinette.
Hi.
Hi. How's Cape Town
Sorry,
today?
I'm late.
No worries.
Oh, it's beautiful. I tuned in early and I couldn't understand. I was like, Mark is on another call. What is going on? It took me about, 12 minutes to realize that I probably linked into the wrong, because I just scrolled on my WhatsApp and I just grabbed the top one, which is obviously last year's link or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, but anyway.
I must repost
No.
it.
It's perfectly fine, actually. I just grabbed the wrong one. Okay. And Cape Town is beautiful. It's nice and sunny. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
How are things with you? It also looks sunny there.
It is. It's warm. I mean, I think from what it looks like, winter starts next weekend by the looks of it. But so far, we're just enjoying it as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hi, Andrea.
I think Kerry's having problems.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Sorry, I'm in the middle of your teaching now. Come and disrupt.
No problem.
No worries. Are you doing your forest sessions later on in the year?
So what I've decided to do is in winter, I actually wanted to take a complete break. And people were going, no, we promise we will come and lie here, even if it's raining and snowing. And I was like, okay, if that's your commitment, I'll show up. But I've just moved it to 1 Sunday a month instead of 2.
Okay.
So it's again the second Sunday of every month. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just I was wondering if it would. I'll be in Cape Town for Cape Town Marathon, but I'll be running on the Sunday, so sorry I can't join.
Oh, but we must try and maybe see each other. Just hug.
That'll be very cool, yeah. So I mean, we literally just coming down for the marathon, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Lovely.
And maybe make a plan on the Saturday. It's on the 19th, so the marathon's on the 20th, so it's Saturday the 19th of October.
Well done you for running so much, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Like I used to be there. I'm not there yet. I'm slowly building up.
It's incredible.
It's beautiful to watch the journey, hey? Like you know where you were and then you stopped and now you're journeying back there again.
Hey? It is nice. Yeah, I've done a few things differently this time. So yeah, like I've just tried to take it a bit slow and not try and sort of like rush into it. And just kind of rather build up a stronger base. So yeah.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
It's so good. So good for your mental health as well.
You see, Mark, I must say, it's so funny. Like the 10 minutes that I sat now waiting to see what's going on, I was like really concerned about you.
Oh, wow.
It's really beautiful actually to look back. And am I going to text Mark now or later to ask if he's okay? Like, is everything fine on your side? So yeah, it was tons of love
Everything's
coming
fine.
your way.
Everything's fine.
Good.
Thanks, Internet.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm,
it's thanks. I appreciate your concern and your well wishes. We've got a nice
mhm,
little Dharma family here.
mm,
And actually, I feel closer to you guys than I do most of my family, actually. So
mm,
that's true.
mm.
Kerry's
Hi,
back.
Kerry.
Um, so the six perfections is the room that we're in. Perfection of giving, represented by the different boxes. The highest gift of all is the gift of spirituality, of Dharma. Um, and I know, Internet, you had like 85 people at your last bowl in the forest gig. And that, that's also giving Dharma, right? There's mindfulness. There was, I know what you're doing. That's the most beautiful gift you can give them, because you're feeding them not just in the moment, but for lifetimes. Those seeds can ripen and help people in this life and in many lives to come. Whatever we do in this life, whatever habits we cultivate, we take with us. So if we encourage people to encourage like group meditation, settling, grounding, enjoyment, learning, all these things are so vitally important. And it could just be meeting a friend at Starbucks for a coffee and talking about their mental health or Dharma, or giving them some techniques, understanding. I wanted to see something. I did post something this morning, which was really cool. And it really meant a lot to me in terms of advice for people. And it's by Venerable Pema Chodron. There she is. She's an incredible nun. Her teacher was Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, quite a controversial guru, very powerful. And she says things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. In life, we think that the point is to pass the test or overcome the problem. The real truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together for a time and then they fall back apart. Then they come together again and fall apart again. And it's just like that. Personal discovery and growth come from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, for relief, for misery, and for joy. Things are always in transition, if we could only realize it. Nothing ever sums itself up in the way that we like to dream about. Pema Chodron. It's just so basic and so real, isn't it? In the world of positive thinking and self-help. And people talk about manifesting and creating the perfect reality. And, if we look at the Four Noble Truths, there is suffering. There is a cause of suffering. There is liberation. And there's a path to liberation. And we must never give up. We must never give up, because there's a path and because there's liberation. A lot of people just get stuck in the first two noble truths. I think people that die from suicide really get the first truth, that everything is suffering, and it's just overwhelming. They really understand it well, but they don't understand the cause, and that there is liberation and that there's hope. And I think inside of us all we know that liberation is possible, because we're always expecting freedom from suffering. That's an expectation we have. So that gives me hope. Although Pema Chodron would probably tell me to abandon hope. She does write about that, because she says hope brings expectation and creates more suffering. But I do think that hope can be used as an energy to motivate us and to move us forward. Hope that we will attain a better existence for ourselves and for others. The perfection of morality, of giving. Then there's the perfection of morality, which is to keep your vows, to know the 10 virtues, to practice them well. And obviously we can't be perfect in it. You know, we will get angry, we will get jealous, we will do some sort of misconduct, but at the end of the day, we've got to keep coming back to that guiding light, that northern star, and keep the compass, you know, headed in the northerly direction. So we're not perfect, but we can try. Then the perfection of patience, which is the bump in the log and sitting in the pond, is really to not get angry. And I know, I'm very passive aggressive, so I'll keep quiet until all of a sudden, poof, you know, and that little pond turns into a tsunami. And I have such regret for saying things and doing things that have completely changed my life in an instant. And that's unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, but I don't know. I don't think anybody else here has anger issues, right? No one gets angry. No, Andrea, you don't have anger issues. That's good.
No, I can't. You know what? I can become aggressive. Maybe is the word.
Yeah.
I think it's more a defense mechanism. Like I'm more conscious of it, you know, maybe than I was a couple of years ago. So not using it as an excuse, but sometimes it's more like a lashing out kind of thing, like, you know, like a defense mechanism. But I'm not an angry person by nature at all. I mean, I'm generally the person who shuts up and just doesn't say anything because I just like, I don't like to disrupt the peace. I'm not,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the bump in the log. It's not getting angry. Master Shantideva used that analogy. Kerry, no anger issues?
I wouldn't say issues. I must say that in my current work environment, it has been a challenge where I have definitely felt that energy arise. But being aware of it helps so much. And really going and sitting down with myself, observing it, asking myself, you know, what's really going on here? Because it's my body talking to me. And yes, it does serve to protect me, but it's, you know, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? So I wouldn't say I've got anger issues, but certainly it does arise at times. Yeah.
Well, thanks for your sharing. I guess it's human to have these feelings, emotions. Antoinette, I can't imagine you getting angry or upset at all.
Yeah, I don't often. I internalize a lot of stuff, and I think that's my suffering. To be honest, is I thank you so much for reading this piece from Pema, because it just, again, like I often keep on going, and it's that non-striving that we're talking about as well, right? It's like, no, we're not supposed to be like this, you know, life's supposed to be so peaceful, and we are. But I think that the ones that pushes my buttons the most are my boys, and I don't really get cross with them as per se. I very much let them live their lives, and since when they were little already, I was like, okay, take responsibility from the age that you're at. If you're going to slam your fingers in the thing because I've told you 20 times already and you've done it, then. But what I lately see, and what I also dreamt about last night, was that there was, when there's danger, when I feel that they are going to, I didn't grow up with a brother to start off with, and sometimes they push each other around, or they speak to each other in my opinion, in a violent way. It really freaks me out, because I don't know how I'm going to step in to protect them if the wheels come off the cart. And I should actually not. I should just let them beat each other up if it then happens. But I've got this real sense of wanting to protect life and peace and the environment, not so much the environment as in smash a couch, that doesn't, it's more the energy and the frequency of the space that I seem to be really protective around. And if there's any if there's anything that comes in that's going to disturb that, I get really mad. Really. Or someone shouts at someone else in the coffee shop or something like that. It's more about, you have disturbed the peace and the tranquility for everybody. That really riles me. And it's weird. But I do get angry. I get irritable and angry, but I internalize a lot of it. And I'm a little bit like you, if I then get pushed too far, it can be detrimental to myself, number one, and then to others. But I go into a space that's really, really upsetting, and it's hard to come out of again. Because my nervous system crashes then. So I don't know what's better, actually, to actually get angry. I think it's not a bad thing.
I mean,
to work with it.
This is where, there's a bit of a crossroads with modern psychology and Buddhism. Buddhism's quite firm, don't get angry. But modern psychology says anger is an emotion and sometimes needs to be expressed. And that anger is also something, according to psychology, that, it's there for a reason. There's injustice, or there's something that you need to defend or protect, perhaps. And that could be a good thing. I think to be able to control the anger, explain your anger rather than express your anger, for me, is the key, right? To realize you're angry, that's where mindfulness comes in. To know that you're angry, your body's doing its thing, your face is red, you're sweating, there's like a feeling in your throat, your voice changes, all of these things, to recognize that and go, hang on a minute, I really need to just slow down, breathe, and use this energy well instead of destructive. I think I watched this thing on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it, Griselda. She's a drug dealer. Pablo Escobar said she's the only person he was afraid of. It's actually quite interesting, but she loses her shit. Yes, has anyone seen it? Wow. No, I mean, it's anger next level. It's completely mind-blowingly destructive. So in Buddhism, they say like one moment of extreme and intense anger can destroy lifetimes of karma, good karma. One moment can destroy lifetimes of goodness. That's scary. It does, however, say that if we regret it and we do the 4 powers on that straight away, then that karma is restored, according to the Buddha. So that's how the 4 powers can save us after such moments of sort of non-virtue or losing it. But if we get angry and we rejoice in it, celebrate it, then that's not great, I suppose. We have moments where we lose it. Even subtle irritation causes karma. But I can't imagine having 2 boys. I've got one, and there's a lot going on. So 2, that's, I can imagine that must be pretty tough at times. Parenting is not for sissies, I can tell you that. So to practice more patience, I guess that's where mindfulness comes in a big way, is to practice patience, to get used to being patient. My mother was extremely, and still is, very hot-headed. So I got my sort of issues from her. But I know it, and I have to work on it, so when I do have these feelings, I go, okay, there's Debbie. Hello, Debbie. It's part of my brain, it's part of my makeup, and it's also an examples that she set when I was younger. She used to blitzen me. Ooh. Sometimes not. My dad was so peaceful and so You could never get angry, never ever. But she was another story. But yet I still love her. And so that's the perfection of patience. Then there's the perfection of joy, which is represented by the video of children laughing and playing in that room. Joy, I remember, talking to my brother-in-law, and I said, what's your definition of happiness? And he said, oh, just to like laugh as much as possible, to laugh, ha ha ha, all the time. And I was like, okay, well, who does that? I don't know, like laugh. Okay. But for me, it's finding joy, according to the Dharma, it's finding joy in working your work, whether it's at the agency, at school, with your ceremonies and your products that you make, internet and so on. Finding joy in that work, and also finding joy in working for others, like and not sort of thinking, oh, it's now I've got to teach, or now I've got to do this, and I just, I'm resentful of it, or I don't feel like doing it, or to sort of think about it and go, but it's a really cool thing I'm doing. And even if I'm packing shelves for Amazon, someone's going to get their book, and I'm thinking that's cool. Someone's going to get their present or their delivery, and I had a hand in it. So any job that we do means that someone will put a smile on someone's face, unless you're a butcher or I don't know, a executioner. I don't know, prison guard perhaps, I don't know. So that is representative of joyous, joyful effort to find joy in the things we do. I guess there's a lot of gratitude or rejoicing that we can bring in there. And a lot of the time we don't think that we're making a difference, or it's just another job. I mean, when I moved into mental health full-time, I was like, wow, I'm doing what I love. This is like a dream come true. But then after a couple of months, it just becomes another job. And I have to keep reminding myself of that joy that I felt when I did change career and it worked out, and I was doing what I love. But then it's like another job with lots of issues and politics and dynamics. And then you kind of lose sight of it. What got you into it initially becomes another mundane feeling. Oh, get out of bed, go to work. Things are just boring, mundane, same old, same old. I think reflecting on what Pema Chodron said, that it's all going to come together, it's going to fall apart. There's something really special there when it comes to relationships. Because I think we get into a relationship and we think, oh, this person is Prince Charming and they're going to make me happy and they're going to take so much pain away from me. But at the end of the day, we can't put that on them. They're also a suffering being, and things will fall apart in a relationship. Things will be tough. But, then we blame them. We blame them, when we should be sort of looking and saying, well, this is the natural course of life. We'll have good times and we'll have bad times. And then I think a relationship can really be happier when you realize, it's not you that's shit, it's just that it is shit. Obviously, unless there's abuse, then it's not good, and one needs to sort of rethink that relationship. But then again, that is coming from our karma. But if it's dangerous to your life, you have to leave. You have to get away. But if the karma is not resolved, there'll be another one that is abusive, and treating us wrong. Same with work. You know, we can leave our jobs and move to another job, but if the karma is not sorted out, the problem will still be there. I've seen that throughout my life. I don't know, have you seen a pattern in your life? Or is it just me? If you have a pattern that keeps recurring, would love to hear it. I definitely have a pattern of authority being abusive and being dishonest. And I look at myself and I go, yep, it keeps happening. You know, I do my best and then I get abused and lied to and cheated. And then I leave that job and it happens again and again. So it keeps happening. Who's to blame? You know?
I think it's a tough one, Mark. Like, I definitely see patterns as well. Like, I think it's normal.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but it's normal. But I think it's maybe to look at it from our perspective in terms of what do we keep attracting? Like,
Yep.
you know, like it's like a mirror, you know, like I've done a little bit of work in it, but not enough. But, you know, it's like, you know, when you do that shadow work about yourself in terms of the things that you might be avoiding or the things that you might be struggling with, that's a lot of the time what you're attracting.
Yeah.
And that obviously is reflecting in whatever you're seeing in terms of what the other people are responding to you. And that's obviously why you keep attracting the same, you know, person or situation in your life. But I think it's pretty normal. I think we all, you know, go through that, whether it's romantic relationships or work relationships or authority figures. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer, but that's my 2 cents worth.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think the pattern is evidence of karma, right? I think if we really take a good look at it and we go, why does this keep coming up? Why does this keep happening again and again? And, you know, we are the karma. There's no like bubble. One school of Buddhism believes that there's like this invisible bubble above our head where all our karma is stored. It's called the Chittamatra school. And the Buddha actually taught that, but it's not, he then said, okay, I'll just use that as an example to try and help people understand karma better, but it's not true. So there's a lot of contradictions about the Buddha, but the Buddha taught people at different levels, right? So he said there's this bubble above our head that no one can see, but that's where all our karma is stored. But the highest of the Dharma teachings is the Madhyamika Prasangika that says we are karma, the belief in a self. If you believe in a self-existent person, then you carry the karma there. And if we eliminate that belief, then the karma is dissolved, it's gone, because then there's nothing for the karma to attach itself to. Does it make sense? So it's hard to let go of this idea of me, self. And I think most of Buddhism is trying to shift us. And that, you know, that's why emptiness is so powerful. And the positive of emptiness is dependent arising. You know, so there's all these factors that build into who we are, and they're all dependent arising and interdependence with everything. I think that's also part of that positivity, to realize that we are everything and at the same time nothing. That's sort of a contradiction. I had a friend, a real hippie guy. His name was Normie Nowhere. That was his nickname. And he said, yeah, I'm a nobody. I'm a nowhere. I'm nowhere because I'm everywhere. So I kind of got that. I'm nowhere, but I'm everywhere. I'm a nobody, but I'm everybody. If you're a somebody, then we can't be everything, right? We can't feel connected to everything because we're a somebody. And if you look outside at the trees and your environment or whatever, to realize that that's all your projection. And that is all you. There's no separation between you and the things around you and what you're experiencing. Does that make sense? So then we get to the fifth perfection, which is perfection of concentration. And it's interesting because you start with the perfection of giving. Your generosity then moves into the perfection of morality. Then that moves into perfection of patience. Then that moves into perfection of joy. Then that moves into perfection of concentration. So concentration is being able to sit and meditate for an hour. That's what they're saying in the text. Now, whether we sit and meditate for an hour or not, that's quite a big ask in our life, right? That's a lot of time. But that meditation won't be good. It won't happen if there's no joyous effort, if there's no patience, if there's no morality, and if there's no generous spirit. You won't be able to concentrate. Okay? Why? I mean, yeah, this is a funny example, but I remember I was sitting in my meditation room and the bookshelf was there, and I was meditating, and I noticed that there was a book that my friend Andreas gave me that I hadn't returned, and there it is. It's sitting in the bookshelf, and my mind is like disturbed. There's Andreas's book. Now I'm worried about it. It's disturbed my meditation. You can imagine that if you're a criminal and you sit down to meditate, and then you hear sirens in the distance, you're thinking, are they coming for me? Or if we're having an affair and the phone rings, or something, and you wonder, oh, is my wife going to answer my phone while I'm in meditation? So the mind is caught up with if it's non-virtue, we can't still our mind, we can't calm our mind. So there has to be virtue, right? There has to be the previous perfections: giving, generous spirit. If you're stealing from other people, there's no way you're going to reach that place of peace and concentration. If you tell lies, you're always going to be thinking, well, I told this lie and I need to, it's a major headspace to try and cover up all the lies, and disturbs our peace. Without our peace, we won't be able to have deep meditation. Why do we need to meditate deeply? Here's the big question. Anybody want to try and answer that?
So I don't know the answer, but I will tell you what I think is some of what I've learned around meditation is it's a deeper rest that you can get in your body than sleep. There's many health benefits to it, but for me, my truth around meditation is that it reminds us of who we really are. Helps us to drop away all the shit.
Yeah.
And reminds us of who we really are.
I think that's a good answer. That's a great answer. Anyone else have any ideas? Okay.
Is it to also, because I was going to say the same thing as Antoinette, but to tap into something that is bigger than the self.
Mm.
So to assist in the
Uh-huh.
dissolution in certain senses of, or reintegration. Yeah.
Mm. Yes. Okay. I'm happy with these answers. Then that moves
It's
us.
almost like you tap out, tap
Yeah.
out, tap in. Tap out of this world, tap in.
Sure. Good.
Something like
I love it. So then it moves to the sixth perfection, right? So we've got the last one. And this is the most fundamental perfection. Why do they call them the perfections? They call them the perfections because if you practice them, they will make you perfect. A perfect being, a perfect Buddha, right? A Buddha is a perfect being. No mental obstacles, no afflictions, no non-virtue, happiness, joy, bliss, clarity, etc. That's why they call the perfections. They're perfectionizers, you could say, perfectionizers. In this human realm, there is no perfection, right? But it's possible that we can transcend this realm. So the last one is the perfection of wisdom. So you take the microscope. Now the microscope is a symbol of focus, which is our mindfulness and our meditation, our concentration. That's the fifth perfection, perfection of concentration. But that doesn't help on its own. So we take the diamond and we put that under the microscope, and we're looking at the diamond in that room. And that diamond represents wisdom. And why does it represent wisdom? Does anybody remember why the diamond represents wisdom? I think we've spoken about it.
It's indestructible.
Yeah, that's one of the qualities. Wisdom is indestructible. So once we understand the workings of karma and patterns and, like the mirror room that we were in, once we have a firm grasp that there's of cause and effect, that everything I do will produce a result, then that understanding is to know that, well, there is no self because the self is a constantly created thing that I'm doing. And I can change tracks anytime and create a different reality for myself. That's the wisdom. I'm not fixed. God didn't make me who I am, and this is my journey because God put me here to do this, right? I have carte blanche. I have the ability to either develop hellish states of mind or heavenly, right? I think anybody that suffered from severe drug addiction can vouch for that, we decide to get into that, we do it, and then it turns into hell, like for us and for our families. So it's indestructible once you know the workings of karma, once you see it in your life. That's why I ask you, do you see patterns in your life? Once you fully get it, you look at it and go, this is a recurring thing that keeps coming back. Why does it keep coming back? Why do I always have to face this problem? Then you start to see that there is a pattern, that's karma. And then we realize, okay, that understanding is the diamond. Because you can tell me that God's doing it. You can tell me that it's just good luck, bad luck. You can tell me that it's coming from Sirius, or, it's, what is it? That time of the month where the planets, what do they call it?
Mercury retrograde.
Exactly. It's Mercury's fault, right? We can blame Mercury. We can blame a lot of things on problems, but there's nothing to blame. I mean, if Mercury retrograde exists, that's because of our karma, right? It doesn't exist independently of our karma, right? I don't think my cat or my dog cares or knows about Mercury retrograde, right? Or does it affect them? I don't know. But if it affects you, then that's your karma. Okay. Some people don't get affected by it, and that's their karma. Doesn't mean it's inherently a thing that will affect you. And that's the diamond. Once we know that, we know, well, there's nothing that is affecting me other than my own deeds and my own actions. There's nothing else. Kerry?
So something just came to mind. I think I read somewhere the obstacle is the path. The obstacle is the path. Is that possible that I read that
Yes.
somewhere? And so now I'm going to use the principal of our school, for example. So the previous guy I thought was just the most unethical human being. I had no respect for him. I couldn't wait for him to leave. And he was replaced by a tyrant who has his own way of being unethical. And I thought to myself, right, so you guys keep showing up. How did I respond to the first principle? Like, what did I do about him within myself? What did I say? What did I talk to others about? Was it kind speech or was it divisive? Was it compassionate or was it judgmental? You know, that stuff.
Sure.
Then this other guy pitches up, and like I told you, he actually sets off my nervous system in a big way. And my mouth goes dry when I'm in his presence and stuff. And I don't like being out of control, but I see myself in him. I actually see that when he becomes like that, I become like that. And I actually take on attributes, you know, but I'm justified in that because I'm right, because you're a dick. Sorry, you're recording. And so that's where I am. That's where I am with this, is like to try and refine and refine and refine and refine where I am not following the path. Because he's actually, like, I should be grateful that he's pitched up, right? Because he's showing me, okay, there's this aspect of your mirror that needs to be wiped clean. That's his function.
Yeah.
So instead of seeing him as an enemy, I should see him actually as like, thanks, dude.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the Lojong says you got to see him as your holy Lama, your holy teacher, and offer them the victory and accept the defeat. But we want to fight and we want to prove we're right, and then that creates more negative karma for more principals and headmasters to come along that are the same, if not worse. But thanks, Kerry. That's a great example. And some great insight that it is your projection, it is you. And amazing how those two people can trigger us, and we both experiencing an intense emotion, but we can change all of that, you know. It's like listening. I mean, you know, if you're engaged with a person that is conflicted and all you do is listen empathetically and you say, yes, carry on. Is there more? I hear you. Yes. Carry on. Yes. Is there more? As soon as we try to talk over that person, or we're not listening and we're formulating our argument while they're talking, that person's not going to listen to you. But if you practice active, what we call the art of listening, that person will listen to you and they will calm down. And that's a practical example of how we can shift that energy in the moment. The thing is, whether they respond well or not, even though you're practicing active listening, is no guarantee, right? Because that's karma, right? They might continue shouting or they might calm down. There's no guarantee that your brilliant active listening will work, but you are planting the seeds by doing that for them to eventually listen to you and calm down. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Okay, I'm going to end class there, and then next week we'll talk more about emptiness and why meditation is essential in understanding emptiness, and we'll talk more about the diamond. Okay, let's do a closing prayer. By the goodness of attending class today, and by the goodness of my meditations, my work, and everything I cultivate in the 6 perfections, my generosity, my ethics, my morality, my patience, my joy, my meditation, and my understanding of karma and emptiness, may this benefit all beings. May I quickly become an enlightened angel so that I can serve them in the best possible way. Gewadi kewokun, sonam yeshe zozo shin, sonam yeshe le junwe, tamba kunia toba sho. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys, for attending class, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll see
Thank you. You too, everyone.
you. Awesome.
Thanks, Mark. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye
Bye,
now.
everyone. Bye.